Okay. John is getting a 25,000 loan with 8% annual interest rate to be paid in 48 equal monthly installments. If the first payment is due at the end of the first month, the principal and interest values for the first payment are closest to. Now, in this case, since there are 48 payments, so n is going to be 48. Interest rate that is given on yearly basis, annual interest rate must be divided with 12, and that will give you 8 upon 12, gives you 0.6667 as it is. You don't need to enter the percentage sign. So the amount that has to be redeemed, the amortization of the loan, $25,000 is to be repaid. What should be the payment? This is to be calculated, and the future value is 0. You simply punch in the numbers and press CPT. You should get your result. Let me do a few questions using our financial calculator, and here it is. All right, n is 48. Interest rate is 0.6667. 25,000 is present value, the loan that is to be paid. Future value is 0. Need to calculate the payment. It is 606.28. 606.28. Write it down, 606.28. This is not what was needed. We need to split the 606 into two components, because every payment we make to pay off the loan, some of it is interest, the rest of it is in principal part. So we will have to calculate the interest part and the principal part separately, and then we will be able to answer the questions correctly. So your total interest will be calculated on the original loan amount multiplied with the monthly interest of 0.6667, and when you calculate 25,000 multiplied by 0.6667 gives you $166.67. So it means out of this amount 606, 166.67 represents the interest, and the remainder would be your principal, and that would be 440. I think there's a little rounding off error, so this A is the correct answer. So we have split the 606 into its principal and interest part. First we calculated the payment amount, and then we charged the interest and split the amounts into two components, the principal payment and the interest. That makes A to be the correct option. Probably we use 0.6667, that's why there's a little marginal $3 difference, but nonetheless we got our result. Next question, given an 11% compounding quarterly for 2 years, compute the future value of 8,000 today. Right, we just have to make sure that we extract the information correctly, and then rest of it would be done by your BA2 plus. Simple. So there are, how many periods are there? Quarterly. In 1 year there are 4 quarters. It means in 2 years there will be total 8 quarters. The periods are 8. If the periods are in quarters, the interest has to be converted in quarters as well. So dividing 11 with 4, 11 upon 4 gives you 2.75. Present value is $8,000 today. Negative or plus doesn't matter. If you put PV negative, FV will be positive. If you write PV positive, FV would be negative. Doesn't make any difference. You will get your result. So payment is 0. You punch in these numbers, compute FV, you should get your result, and it should be B. I'm sure you have your calculators with you. Punch in the numbers and you will match the result, and I think it would work for you. We can do many questions this way rather than just punching the numbers on calculators and then spending 2 to 3 minutes per question. So we got it right, 9939. Next, now this is the question that I would do using calculator. What is the maximum an investor should be willing to pay for an annuity that will pay $10,000 at the beginning of each of the next 10 years? Mind the word beginning. It's an annuity due. It's an annuity due question for the next 10 years, given the investor wants to earn 12.5% compounded annually. Now, it's an annuity due question. We will have to first bring our calculation to beginning mode and then punch in the numbers. So first we can do it in 2 ways. Let me tell you, we can do it in 2 ways, but why don't we just focus on the smartest way to save time? Save time. We have a lot to do. Let us do it straight what we need to do using annuity due. So first what you should do, press the second function, press PMT, because right above the PMT it will convert you to the beginning mode, and then press the second again, and then the key on the face of it, enter. This will bring your calculator to the beginning mode. Let me show you again. Second PMT, second enter. It was all in beginning mode. Second PMT, second set or enter, that will bring you to the beginning mode. Now let us extract the numbers so as to plug it and get the result straight away. What is the maximum investor should be willing to pay for an annuity that will pay 10,000 at the beginning of each of the next year? So it means this is the payment, write 10,000 positive. Given the investor wants to earn 12.5% compounded annually, so no change in the interest rate, you can simply plug it in 12.5, right? Present value is to be calculated. Future value is 0. And what is N? Now this is something that you have to take care. Maximum investor should be willing to pay for an annuity that will pay 10,000 at the beginning of each of the next 10 years, given the investor wants to earn 12.5% compounded annually. 10 periods, 12.5% interest. Plug in the numbers and you will get your results straight away. 10, quit first, 10N, 12.5 is interest, PV is to be calculated, 10,000 PMT, future value 0, compute present value. 62,285 gives you the present value straight away. So we just punched in the right numbers and got a result that makes A to be the correct option. And don't forget, that's important, you have to quit the second function at the beginning mode, otherwise there might be mistakes. Now back to end. All right, moving on. The First State Bank is willing to lend $100,000 for 4 years at 12% rate of interest, with a loan to be repaid in semi-annual payments, which means 4 years must be converted into semi-annual payments, 8 payments. Interest must be divided with 2, that is 6%, that's important. And given the payments are to be made at the end of each 6 months, how much will each loan payment be? Now, the periods are 8, interest rate has been adjusted 6, PV, the present value is $100,000, because this is the loan amount that you will receive now. How much you will have to pay, future value 0, simply press these numbers into these functions and press CPT payment, you will get your result. Punch it in and your result should be 16,103.59. All right, so done. A is the result. Next. Suppose you are going to deposit $1,000 at the start of this year, $1,500 at the start of the next year, and $2,000 at the start of the following year in a saving account. How much money will you have at the end of 3 years if the rate of interest is 10%? Now, since all these payments are to be taken to the future, so these payments are being made at the start of each period, so it's going to be, first payment is being made now, this one, and then this one. So which means this would be multiplied with 1.1 raised to the power 3, 1,500 into 1.1 raised to the power 2, and this 2,000 into 1.1 raised to the power 1. So when you multiply these, let me do it with a simple calculator. 1,000 times 1.1 cube give you 13331. 1,500 times 1.1 square give you 1815, and 2,000 multiplied by 1.1 it'll give you 2200. If you add all these future values, these uneven cash flows were taken to the future using this formula. I'm sure you remember, FE is equal to P into 1 plus R raised to the power N. So for these 3 periods into the future, year 1, 2, 3. For this 2 periods into the future, year 2 and 3, and for this for year 1 only. So added all these, 18, 1, 5, 13, 3, 3, 1 gives you 5346. So the future value of these uneven cash flows is A5346. Gentlemen, speed and accuracy, that's what you need in professional certifications, speed and accuracy. And that's what our agenda is. Peter Wallace wants to deposit $10,000 in a bank certificate of deposit, COD. Wallace is considering the following banks. Bank A is offering 5.85 annual interest compounded annually. Bank B is offering 5.75 annual interest compounded monthly. This is compounded annually. So compounded annually means effective annual rate would be 5.85. Because 5.85 annually, compounded annually, effective rate and annual percentage rate, they are the same. But for Bank B, it's 5.75 annual interest rate compounded monthly. And for Bank C's 5.7 annual interest rate compounded daily, that is 365. The question says, which bank offers the highest effective interest rate? So we don't need to calculate for Bank A, it's already there. For Bank B and C, we'll do it. Effective interest rate can be calculated using your calculators. Second, quit. Use second ICONV, that is interest rate conversion. First is 5.75, nominal rate is 5.75. Enter up arrow key. Frequency of compounding is 12. Enter up arrow key and then press CPT. So it means the effective annual rate for Bank B is 5.90. Right here, 5.90, right. For the next one, the nominal rate is 5.70, 5.70. Enter up. Frequency of compounding is 365. Enter up, and don't forget to press CPT. It's 5.86. So now we have 5.86 for Bank C, 5.85 for Bank A, and the highest is being offered by Bank B, that is 5.90. Right, even 5 basis points, but this is the one that we are going to go for. The highest effective rate is being offered by Bank B, so that makes B to be our correct option. Okay, moving on. Vega Research has been conducting investor polls for the Third State Bank. They have found the most investors are not willing to tie up their money in a 1-year or a 2-year certificate of deposit unless they receive 1% in case of 1 year and 1.5% in case of 2-year COD, right? So for 1 year COD, they're expecting 1.1% at least, and for the 2-year COD, 1.5, more than they would on an ordinary saving account. If the saving account is giving 3% and the banks wants to raise funds for 2-year COD, remember for 1 year COD, the investors are looking for 1% premium. And for 2-year COD, they're looking for 1.5% premium. Since they are talking about the 2-year COD, so the investors would be requiring 3 plus 1.5, 4.5%. Right? So it's a straightforward question. No computation as such, simply. So 4.5%, and this represents a discount rate. It's not a discount rate. It's a forward-looking, it's a required rate of return. We are taking it from the point of view of the investor. Since we are taking the view of the investor, investors are induced through offering them a certain rate of return. They have the certain requirement from the borrower that they expect in return. So from the investor point of view, it is the required rate of return, right? It's not the discount rate. So this is 4.5 required rate of return, B to be the correct option. All right, moving on. JP Morgan needs to accumulate $2,000 in 18 months. Okay, this is to be accumulated, that's the future value. Needs to accumulate now, no, in the future. Let's see, let's read the whole question. If she can earn 6% at the bank compounded quarterly, we need certain adjustments. Compounding quarterly means this 6% must be divided with 4. 6 by 4 gives you a 1.5% rate quarterly. Okay, then 18 months. 3 months make 1 quarter. If there are 18 months, how many quarters do we have? We have 6 quarters. So we have 6 quarters, 6 periods. Interest rate per period, that is per quarter, 1.5. What else? We have been given 2000. Is it the future value or the present value? Needs to accumulate 2000. This is the future value, of course. Now the question is clear. It's a future value. That's what we need in the future. So the future value is 2000. There is no frequent payment or the recursive payment. All numbers are there for your TVM computations. Enter these all and press CPT, present value, and straight away you'll get your result. No twist in this question. Straightforward. CPT is 81829.08. No further ado. We can move on to the next one. The straightforward question. Which of the following statement about compounding and interest rate is least accurate? Mind the word focus is on least. Least accurate. Present value and discount rates move in the opposite direction. Absolutely no doubt about that. If discount rate is increased, your present value will fall. They move in the opposite direction and vice versa. If the discount rates are decreased, present value will go up. It's a correct statement. On monthly compounded loans, the effective annual rate EAR will exceed the annual percentage rate. Yes, because monthly compounding means there are 12 times compounding. The frequency of compounding is 12%, 12 times in 1 year. We can verify this idea. I think we have done it. Do we have some slide here to assist? No. So we've just seen it in the previous discussion, or we can just take an example. Let's say 10% annual percentage rate. If it is compounded monthly, the effective rate will be more than this, and this will verify the option B to be correct also. Let's do it. Second, 10% nominal rate, enter up. Frequency of compounding 12, enter up, and you will see is 10.47%. So you can see here that the frequency of compounding is 12, the effective rate would be higher. On monthly compounding loans, the effective annual rate will exceed the annual percentage rate. Annual percentage rate was 10%, whereas monthly compounded gave you annual effective rate of 10.47. This is a correct statement. We just verified it using the numbers. A is correct, B is correct. It has to be C then. All else equal, longer the term of the loan, the lower will be the total interest you pay. This is wrong. Longer the term of the loan, there is a maturity risk that has to be compensated. So longer the term of the loan, higher will be the total interest you pay. Shorter is the loan, you pay less interest. It's quite a common sense question. So this is an incorrect statement. This is an incorrect statement. C is incorrect. All right, moving on. Consider a 10-year annuity that promises to pay you $10,000 per year. Given this is an ordinary annuity, an investor can earn 10% on her money. The future value of this annuity, straightforward question, plug in the numbers. Ordinary annuity 10, interest rate to be compounded yearly 10%, no present values to be calculated. The payment is to be made $10,000. You need to just calculate the future value, enter all these, press CPT and future value, and you'll get your results straight away. I'm sure you people have calculators in front of you. You're just punching in the numbers and getting the results. Verify your numbers. It has to be B. 159374, B it is. Next, given an 8.5% discount rate, an asset that generate cash of $10 in year 1, $20 in year 2, and $10 in year 3, and is then sold for $150 at the end of the 4th year. What is the present value? Now you can't solve it in the normal conventional way. Now that is where practice comes in. Doing 100 easy questions won't prepare you for the exam. But doing 10 to 15 challenging, tough, frightening questions will prepare you for the war. So don't just do a simple question, think that you're doing well. You should always love the questions that challenge you, because they are the one that prepare you. Always love the challenges, and that's what you need to succeed in your CFA examination. Now this is interesting. 8.5 is the discount rate, an asset that generates $10 in the first year, negative 20 in the second year, plus 10 in the third year, and then finally it gets you 150 at the end of the 4th year. We have to calculate the present value. Since these are not the regular recursive cash flows, we have to use some other approach for this question. What you will do, let me tell you, you will use your NPV function of your calculator. You will write CFO 0. For the first year, there is no cash flow. Right now, there is nothing. At the end of year 1, you get $10 positive. You press enter and down arrow key twice, means $10 is just once. When the cash flows are repeating, you will change. I will show you when there are repetitive cash flows. Frequency of $10 is just one, so there is no number you can see between these two down arrow keys. -20, down arrow key. Since it's a single cash flow, you write these double arrow keys downward. And then you have +10 in the third year, enter, double arrow downwards, and then you sell the asset at a net book value or at a net proceeds of $150. Again, it's a plus, enter. Now, all these cash flows have been entered in your calculator. You will press NPV button. You will then have to enter the discount rate, that is 8.5. Press enter, down arrow key, and press CPT, and you will get your result. You need to press CPT again. All right. Now let us plug in the numbers. Quit. Tables are clean, neat and clean. All right, let's get started. Second, initial cash flow 0 right now. Down arrow key. First cash flow is $10 inflow positive, enter, double arrow downward. 20 negative, enter, double arrow key down. Cash flow 3 is positive 10, enter, double arrow. 150 at the end of year 4, enter, right? We need to calculate NPV. When you press NPV, the system will ask you what's the discount rate, 8.5, enter, down arrow key, and then press compute here, 108. So 108.29 is the present value of these uneven cash flows coming at the end of year 1, outflow year 2, inflow year 3, and inflow year 4. So this is the recommended approach to calculate the present value of uneven cash flows. If you have to calculate the present value of uneven cash flows, the future value of uneven cash flows, you will have to calculate the future value of each individual cash flow separately. But that is the way to do, that is the recommended approach. So that gets you C to be the correct option. Moving on, if $1,000 is invested at the beginning of the year at an annual rate of 48%, compounded quarterly, what would that investment be worth at the end of the year? First of all, when you say quarterly, and we're talking about the total period of 1 year, it means there will be 4 quarters, N is 4. Interest rate 48, that is annual percentage rate, has to be converted on quarterly basis. So for that you need to divide it with 4. 48 by 4 gives you 12%. 12% is the quarterly rate. N is 4. That is, in 1 year there'll be 4 quarters. What do we need? If 1,000 is invested at the beginning of the year, if you invest $1,000 now, that's the present value. Outflow negative. There is no regular recursive payment. You just plug in these numbers. N is 4, 12% IY, negative 1,000 PV, PMT 0. Simply press CPT future value. You should get your result C. I'm sure you people are following and you're getting the results. MashaAllah, all of you have got it correctly. That is C. All right, next. Whenever a challenging question comes, I will come in action. Otherwise, I'll just lay down the working. You can just plug it in. And this is the one that needs my involvement. It says 3 years from now, an investor will deposit the first of 8 1,000 payments into a special fund. The fund will earn interest at the rate of 5%. These are recursive payments. Okay. What else? Thereafter, the fund will return a reduced interest of 4%. Now, for the first few years, for the first 3 years, the interest rate is 5%. For the first 5 years, it says. And after that, the fund will be reduced to 4%, compounded annually. So there is no compounding issues until the final deposit is made. How much money will the investor have in the fund at the end of 10 years, assuming no withdrawals are made? Now this question will be done in 2 parts. Firstly, there will be 3 payments, will be invested at the rate of 5%. Each payment is $1,000 for $1,000. And then subsequent to these 3 payments, there will be 5 payments of $1,000 each. And for those payments, the interest rate will be 4%. So the question will be done in 2 steps. First is the step 1. You make 3 payments at rate of 5%. Present value 0. You have to find out the payments are for $1,000 each. We just need to calculate the future value. This future value will then be reinvested, and for the next 5 years, together with the payments, you'll get the total future value of the payments. Now, let us first find out the future value of these payments using our calculator function. 3 is N, 5%, present value 0, payments that are being made 1,000, that's PMT. You need to calculate the future value, that is 3152. This 3152 is now being invested as the present value. This will be again invested. This is the step 2 now. Now the remaining period is 5 years now. The interest rate will fall from 5% to 4%. This investment at the end of the period 3 will be reinvested at present value. Consider it as a negative, that is outflow, 3152.5. And you will resume paying $1,000 again. You will continue paying $1,000 till the end of 10th year, right? How much money will the investor have in the fund at the end of the 10th year, assuming no withdrawals are made? So you will have to calculate the future value. So you have the data in front of you. You just have to plug in the numbers now. 5 is N, 4%, 3152.5 negative. That's the present value that has been accumulated over the period of 3 periods. And then there is payment that will go till the end of 10th year of $1,000, and you will have to calculate the future value, that is 9251.82, perfectly matching with your. So you will have a question like these where the payments are being split into various parts, and I recommend for beginners, it is recommended that you draw a timeline that will help you understand the idea better. I've just simply extracted the numbers and plugged it in the calculator. For the beginners, they must first draw the timeline, and then they should do their computation. That will be much helpful for them. Question number 14. The value in 7 years, N is 7, of 500 invested today, that is invested right now, it's a present value, at an interest rate of 6%, compounded monthly. When it says compounded monthly, you have to divide it by 12, that will give you 0.5. And how many periods will there be of 12 months? For how many years are we talking about? 7 years multiplied by 12. 7 multiplied by 12 means 84 periods. So there are total 84 periods. Interest rate on monthly basis is 0.5. Payment to be made, single payment. It's not a repetitive payment. It's a single payment invested now. What will be its future value? Simply plug it punch it in your calculator, and you will get your result. And I'm sure most of you got it absolutely right. That is 760. Very good. Question 15. A stated rate of 9% compounded semi-annually result in an effective annual rate of compounded semi-annually. This is your nominal rate. I'm going to write it as norm. Semi-annually means the compounding period, that is called the compounding per period, that is equal to 2. And you just have to calculate your EFF as per your financial calculator. Plug in the numbers and you get your result. Second interest rate conversion. Nominal rate is 9%. Enter up. Frequency of compounding is 2. Enter up. Press CPT, and there you go. 9.2025, and that is A. Don't select 9.3 because rounding off will give you 9.20 only, so that makes A to be the correct option. And A it is. Next. Bill Johns is creating a charitable trust to provide 6 annual payments of $20,000 each. 6 annual payments of $20,000 each, beginning next year. Annuity, ordinary, beginning next year. How much must Johns set aside now at 10% interest compounded annually to meet the requirement? Bill John is creating a charitable trust to provide 6 annual payments of $20,000 each. For this, what has to be paid now so as to ensure these payments become available in the future? For 6 years, what he must invest, interest rate is given 10%. You just have to calculate the future value 0. what should be the present value, what you should invest now. Simply enter these in your calculator, 6 and 10%, negative 20% for PMT, and simply press CPT PV. You will get your result. I'm sure you would have got your result, and very good. All of you got it correct. That's A. Moving on. As the number of compounding periods increases, what is the effect on the annual percentage rate and the effective annual rate? Here we go. That's what will assist us. When the compounding was done twice in a year, your effective annual rate was 6.09. When the compounding period was increased from 2 to 4, your rate went up. Further, as the number of compounding per period goes up, your effective interest rate goes up. APR remains same and ER increases. Yes, it does. Effective annual rate increases, but something that is very fine that you need to appreciate. Annual percentage rate is the same, but when the frequency of compounding is increased, your effective annual rate goes up. Yes, it does, but it increases decreasingly. It is increasing. The first increase was for 0.4%, then for 0.3% approximately, then for 0.2%. So it is increasing but decreasingly. So we do not have this fine requirement of the question. What we do see is that as the frequency of compounding goes up, your effective annual rate goes up as well. So that is the right answer. Otherwise, I think there is a question that will require this specific fine point that yes, EAR increases, but it increases decreasingly. It increases decreasingly. So in this case, A is the right answer. There is no such fineness tested, so that makes A to be the correct option. All right, moving on. An investor wants to receive $1,000 at the beginning of each of the next year. Beginning means it's annuity due. Each of the next 10 years, N is 10, with the first payment starting today, surely annuity due. If the investor can earn 10% interest, this is your interest per period. What must the investor put into the account today? Present values to be calculated so as to receive $1,000 cash flow stream in the future regularly. What he must invest now. N is 10. Interest rate is 10 as well. Payment that is making is $1,000. Future value is 0. What must be the present value of the annuity due? Now, you just simply don't punch in the numbers. You will have to first shift your calculator. Second, PMT, beginning mode. It's an annuity due question, gentlemen. So second, quit. Now enter 10 is N. 10 is interest rate. 1,000 negative is your recursive payment. 0 is the future value. You need to calculate the present value, and it is 6759A. Please make sure to quit the beginning mode, otherwise there will be errors. Right now it's perfectly fine. So we got a result 6759. That makes A to be the correct option, and A it is. Why? We don't need that. We just simply know how to do it. Why do we need to know multiple methods? Yes, you can adopt any method you want, whatever you feel convenient with. I don't mind that. But whatever works for you, use that method and keep on using it frequently. Next question, 19. An annuity will pay 8 annual payments of $100. 8 annual payments of $100. So you are receiving its plus. When the first payment to be received 1 year from now is ordinary annuity. If the interest rate is 12% per year, what is the present value of this annuity? Very simple, straightforward question. The payment period is 8. Interest rate is 12. Present value is to be calculated. Future value is 0. Punch in these numbers and simply press CPT PV. You get your result, and it should be 496.76. I hope it's working. You have your calculator with you. You just need to punch in the numbers, and we will save time for more challenging questions. So A is the result. Now this is the one that needs my attention. A local loan shark offers 4 for 1 on payday. 4 for 5 one day. I mean, they offer you a loan of $4, but on your payday, which might be a weekly pay or maybe a monthly one, 4 for 5 means if you borrow 4, you will have to pay 5. $1 interest. What it involves is that you borrow $4 from him, loan shark, and repay $5 on the next payday 1 week later. You borrow $4 and after 1 week you pay $5. This is how loan sharks work. They charge excessive, extraordinary interest rate. How extraordinary? I will just show you. What would the stated annual interest rate be on this loan? Stated annual interest rate with the weekly compounding, assuming 52 weeks in 1 year. What is the effective annual interest rate on this loan? And select the respective answer choices closest to your number. First of all, you are paying an interest of $1 for a loan of $4. So 1 by 4 times 100, that is 25% for 1 week only. So this 25% per week. 25% per week. Very high. How many weeks are there in 1 year? 52 weeks. So 25 multiplied by 52, 25 times 52 gives you 1300%. This 1300% is the annual percentage rate. Look no further, click B and move on. But let's say if 1300 is present in A as well as C, then you will have to confirm this number as well. Otherwise, if you just need to guess, B is fine. Now we have the number annual percentage rate is 1300. Now we have to convert this annual percentage rate into an effective annual rate. And the result will frighten you. Okay, here we go. Second, interest rate conversion. Nominal rate is 1300. Enter, up. Compounding. How many weeks are there in a month? 52. 52 compounding in 1 year. Enter, up. Press CPT and look at this 10.947544 million percentage. In other words, 10,947,544%. Wallah haram haza. It's extremely high interest rate, which definitely required that person to be killed. This is too much. Effective annual rate is 10 million percentage. So that makes B to be the correct option, and B it is. Okay, we go. Looks a little challenging one, a bigger one. I love questions like these that they require Smith. Just a minute. Alice Kors, hedge fund manager and avid downhill skier, was recently granted permission to take 4 months sabbatical. Sabbatical, basically, it's a period of paid leave for employees. They might go somewhere to just relax and have fun. So this person, Alice Kors, he has been given a permission for a sabbatical to enjoy for some time off. It's always advisable to spend some time off for at least 1 week. That will relieve your pulsating nerves. You will feel relaxed and then you become more effective. Always recommended. So after your CFA exam, you should give yourself 1 week at some good place, maybe Goa or maybe somewhere in some suitable place. So during the sabbatical, scheduled to start in 11 months. This is the period after which he will take leave of 4 months. Kors will ski at approximately 12 resorts located in Austrian, Italian and Swiss Alps. See, this is what you call fun. Kors estimates that she will need $6,000 at the beginning of each month for expenses that month. She needs $6,000 for every month, and she will spend 4 months. Remember, this is the period she will spend, and there are 11 months remaining for her sabbatical. She has already financed her initial travel and equipment costs are done. Her financial planner estimates that she will earn an annual rate of 8.5% during her saving period and an annual rate of return during the sabbatical of 9.5%. So it means first she will have to invest for 11 months. These 11 months will get her 8.5% return, and after that the rate will go up to 9.5%. How much does she need to put in her saving account at the end of each month for the next 11 months to ensure the cash flow she needs over her sabbatical for a period of 4 months after these 11 months are over? how much you need to deposit in 11 months? It's a very good question indeed. And what would be the size of each payment? Gentlemen, for this, I recommend for the beginners, you need to draw a number line. But we got the idea that for 11 months period, she will have to put a certain amount of money. And for the next 4 months, she will receive the amount of money that she can have fun with. Gentlemen, first of all, she will receive $6,000 for 4 months. For that, how much you need to invest? So starting first with this one, N is 4, 9.5% for the whole year, since we are talking on monthly basis, so 9.5 upon 12, 9.5 divided by 12, it's 0.79166, right? Every payment she will receive will be for $6,000 in order to cover her expenses. Future value is 0. We need to compute that what should be the present value at the end of the period when these 11 periods are over. Remember, she will need the first payment at the start of the month 4, which means it's an annuity due question. Remember, this is an important point to remember. It's an annuity due question because she needs money at the start of the 4 months period when she starts enjoying in these lovely places in the European regions. So let's start first with the function conversion. Second, PMT, second and set. This will convert your calculator into beginning mode. It's an annuity due because she needs money at the start of month 4. And she needs at the start, not at the end of the month. She needs spending money. So she has to have the money at the start of each of the month. So that's why it's an annuity due question. Let us first calculate the present value and then we will calculate the second aspect to it. And here we go. Second quit. Starting first with the second PMT, second enter. Now it's in the beginning mode. 4, second quit. 4 is the period. Interest rate on monthly basis is 0.79166. PV is to be calculated. 6,000 what she will receive. Future value is 0. We have to compute the present value. It is 23,000. This is what she needs. This is what she needs. 23,718. And what was in points? 71 or 72, 0.72. 0.72. Now, this was the first phase. That's what she needs to have so as to receive $6,000 for each of the 4 months at the beginning of each month of her sabbatical. Now, the investment part. This is the withdrawal part. Now we have to see the investment part. She will be investing money for 11 periods. Investment will generate 8.5 on monthly basis. 8.5 must be divided with 12. 8.5 divided with 12 gives us 0.70833, right? Now this present value at the end of 11 years, 11 periods is the amount that we will have in the investment account that will pay her $6,000 every month. Now we have to calculate what should the payment be that she will make in order to receive $6,000 in each of the 4 months for her sabbatical, right? So she needs this future amount. This future amount will be invested here as an outflow, and that will result in $6,000 receipt at the start of each month. So we are talking about the future value of 23718.72, right? And so what would be the payment amount that we need to? PV must be 0. Now we need to calculate the payment she has to make every month now. So let us, I hope you got the idea. Let me repeat. First we took what she will receive every month, $6,000 for 4 months at the start of each month. So it's annuity due. This is the interest rate. Future value is 0. So for getting $6,000 every month, this should be the amount of investment, present value of investment at that point. So this present value, in fact, it will be the future value of her investment, which she will make every month for 11 months at this rate. Present value 0. Payment is to be calculated. This is the future value for this investment, and we have to calculate the payment she will make. So first we will need to convert our calculator into the end mode. Quit. 11 payments. Interest rate is 0.70833. Present value is 0. Future value that she needs in the account in order to receive $6,000 every month at the start of each month, 23718.72. This is what she needs in the future in that account so as to receive $6,000 every month. So this basically represents your future value. What she must pay every month is 2080.95. This should be her payment every month, 2080. Now it makes much sense now. This is what she will be investing for the 11 months at this rate so as to achieve this much as the future amount. This future amount will represent as a present amount for this annuity. This is the investment as a negative. At this interest rate, 0.7916 per month, will generate a 6,000 of inflow at the start of each of her month she will spend in the sabbatical, for the sabbatical. So that was a little twisted one, but when you split the question in two parts, then accordingly you can. Yes, timeline will always help, but once you get the idea, you can do it straightforward. Otherwise, timeline is always recommended when you get a question like this. It makes things much more easier. All right, moving on to question number 22. As the number of compounding period increases, we just discussed this a little while earlier through this table. What is the effect on the effective annual rate? It increases, we know that, but it increases decreasingly. It is increasing, but at a decreasing rate. So that is a clear, straightforward question. It's a C1. Increases at a decreasing rate. Next. If $10,000 is invested in a mutual fund at that returns 12% per year, 12% per year, after 30 years, the investment will be worth. A very straightforward question, no twist in it. Present value $10,000. Payment is 0. Simply punch in these numbers, CPT future value, you will get 299,599 positive. So that makes A to be the correct option. Straightforward question for practice. Now, this one is good. Find the future value of the following uneven cash flow stream. Assume end of the year payments. Every payment is at the end of the period. See, look at this. We have to calculate future value. And it is not a repetitive amount. So don't use the TVM function. It will simply require you to calculate the future value of each of these single cash flows, time consuming. What you can do, since we have to calculate the future value, interest rate is 12%. And this payment is being made now or at the end of the period? At the end of the period. So you can draw the timeline or you can do straightforward. This is being made at the end of the first year, so it will be multiplied with 1.12. 12% being the interest rate, raised to the power 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be multiplied, 3,000 multiplied by 1.12 raised to the power 3, 1.12 raised to the power 2, 1.12 raised to the power 1, and multiplied with 1.12 raised to the power 0. Simplify these simplifications, and their sum should give you a total of 58,164.58. Remember, the first one, negative 2,000 into 1.12 raised to the power 4 will be a negative number, negative 3147. Negative 3,000 into 1.12, these are the outflows, negative 4214.78. Rest of them will be positive. Simplifying these will give you the straightforward answer, no big deal. This is the only way, gentlemen. Unfortunately, uneven future cash flows will have to be solved this way. But calculating present value, you can use that CF naught function, 0, enter down arrow key. That will help, but for these, unfortunately, this is the way. Future value is equal to the cash in or out multiplied by 1 plus rate raised to the time period, which will be RF 4, 3, 2, and so on. So this is the only way I told you while doing the main overview. Unfortunately, that's the only way we'll do it. All right, so that gives you a total of 58,164. Next question, number 25. Here we have some regular cash flows. Here we can apply the TVM, and for these two we can do some shortcut. A firm is evaluating an investment that promises to generate the following annual cash flows: 5,000 for the first 5 years, no cash flow for year 6 and 7, and then cash flow at year 8 and 9. What do we need? Given BBC uses 8% discount rate, this investment should be valued at the present value of this investment. So what you will do for these recursive cash flows, we can apply TVM. N is 5, right? What is the rate of interest? 8. Present value is to be calculated. Every payment is 5,000 since an inflow, plus future value is nil. Simply press CPT and you will calculate the present value, and let us do it. 5N 8 interest rate, 5,000 inflow at the end of each of the 5 years. This is PMT. Future value is 0. We need to calculate the present value, and this gives us 19963. 19963. All these are positive, so inflows is a positive NPV. For these 2,000, simply divide them with how many years it has till year 0. You can draw the number line. I normally simply plug in the numbers and get the result. For those who would like to use this method, we have 2 cash flows, one coming at the end of year 8 and other at the end of year 9. So in order to discount it, you will have to divide it with 2,000 divided by 1.08 raised to the power 8. And the 9th year cash flow of $2,000, it needs to be divided with 1.08 raised to the power 9, right? So 2,000 divided by 1.08 raised to the power 8, this will bring this 2,000 into present terms, and 2,000 divided by 1.08 raised to the power 9, it will bring this 2,000 to present terms. So converting these, first one will bring the cash flow to 1080.53, this one, and 2,000 upon 1.0 raised to the power 9 gives you 1,000.49. So bringing all these future cash flows in the present term, 19963 plus 1080.53 and 1000.49 gives you a total of 22,044.02. Marginal difference of rounding off, so that makes A to be the correct option. A it is. Next, the following stream of cash flows will occur at the end of the next 5 years. We have to calculate the present value. The present value of these cash flows. This is the one that you can use your financial calculator for. Negative 2,000, negative 3,000, and then these are the positive inflows. What you will do, I'll lay down the working. I won't recommend TVM here. I hope I haven't missed any question. Have I? No. We did 25th, now it's 26th. All right. So CF not, that is your 0, single arrow, $2,000 negative, enter, down arrow key twice, negative 3,000. You can use your calculator directly. This is for just illustration purpose. I'm writing it down. Enter, down arrow key, it's +1, then plus 25,000, enter, down arrow key, then you have 30,000, enter, down arrow key, then you press NPV. System will ask for the discount rate, which is given as 12%. You enter, down arrow key, and press CPT. You will get your present value. Let us do it. This one you can do, of course. The future value will require, let's say if these were the future values, you will have to calculate the future value of each individual cash flow separately. Okay, CF 0, enter, down arrow key. Unfortunately, we have some numbers present. 2,000 negative, enter, twice, down arrow key, 3,000 negative, enter, down arrow key twice, and then we have 6,000 positive. It's a single cash flow, so double down arrow, then 25,000, enter, double down arrow, and then we have 30,000, enter, double down arrow, and you need to press the NPV. Interest rate is 12%. I hope we get the right answer. 3304.14, that is the present value of these future cash flows, because your NPV table was not cleared, so yet we got the right answer. It's 33,004. This is the present value of these uneven cash flows, and that makes C to be the correct option. Compute the present value of a perpetuity with $100 payment beginning 4 years from now. Assume appropriate annual interest rate is 10%. As One gentleman suggested we should use TVM. Yes, the timeline will always help, but for beginners, it's recommended. If you are expert, you can simply plug in the numbers, get your result. Save time. It says compute the present value for perpetuity with 100 payments beginning 4 years from now. The first payment you will receive would be here, right? We need to calculate its present value at time 0. So what you will do, this is the $100 recursive payment at a rate of 10%. So what you're going to calculate, you're going to calculate the present value at the end of year 3. When you apply the formula for perpetuity, $100 divided by 10%, this will convert the stream of cash flows from year 4 onwards at the end of year 3. 100 upon 10% gives you $1,000. We are not yet there. This $1,000 has to be discounted to year 0. What you will do, $1,000 divided by 1.1 raised to the power 3, because it has 3 periods to cover to come to the year 0. So what did we do? $100 divided by 10%, it gave us the present value at the end of year 3. To bring this third year cash flow to year 0, we divided this $1,000 with 1.1 raised to the power 3. So this should give you the present value 1,000 divided by 1.1 cube. That is 751.31. So that makes C to be the correct option. All right. Rini Fisher invests $2,000 each year starting 1 year from now in a retirement account. If investment earns 8% or 10% annually over 30 years, the amount Fisher will accumulate is closest to what under these two streams? In case of 8%, 30 payments, 8% is interest, present value 0. The payment she will make $2,000. What would be the future amount? That's what we need to calculate. In case of 10%, 30 payments, 10% interest, present value 0. 2,000 is the recursive payment. What will be the future value? Simply punch in the numbers in your financial calculator TVM and you will get 225 and 330 as your result. Save time and move on. Now this is a good one. Optimal Insurance is offering a deferred annuity that promises to pay 10% per annum with equal annual payments beginning at the end of 10 years. Beginning at the end of year 10 and continuing for a total of 10 annual payments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So remember, it is starting at the 10-year periods. For an initial investment of $100,000, what will be the amount of annual payments? This is what you are paying now, $100,000. This $100,000 will be what amount at the end of year 10? So a single payment for 10 years at 10% rate, the present value is you're making a payment, so it's an outflow, $100,000. It's PV, no payment. So what will be the future value? Compute the future value. Let us first do it. Let us first calculate the future value. Quit. 10N, 10 interest rate. Negative is the present value, 0 payment. What will be its future value? 259,374. Let us write it down. 259,374.246. 259,374 simplify 0.25. Now, gentlemen, this is the single payment we invested in year 0, and at the end of 10th year, this is the value. What the next part of the question says. We have invested it in an investment account that generates an interest rate of 10%. What will be the amount we will receive in each of these years? How many time periods there are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we have to identify, is it an annuity due or is it an ordinary annuity? Let me write down the relevant detail on this side of the TVM data. Rate of interest is 10. This amount, which has accumulated over a period of 10 years, It is now an investment in this annuity. This 259,374.25, which has accumulated over a period of 10 years, this basically is an investment in the account as an outflow point, this 259,374.25. It's being invested for 10 years, right? How much payment this annuity will make when the future value is 0? We have to determine, is it regular annuity or is it an annuity due? That's an important point because we have yet to decide this. Optimal Insurance is offering a deferred annuity that promises to pay 10% per annum with equal annual payments beginning at the end of the 10th year. It means the first payment will be received here. That's the first payment is at the beginning. It means it's an annuity due. It may be the end of year 10, but the first payment is being received at the start of the period. So it's basically an annuity due question. So for this, we have to set our calculator to beginning mode by pressing second, PMT, second, and set, and plug in the numbers. Let's do it. Second, PMT, second, set. Now it's in the beginning mode. Quit. Enter the data. We have 10N. Interest rate 10. 259,374.25, that has been invested in this account, is negative. This is the present value. Future value 0. What would be the regular payments that we will receive? 38,375.51. That makes C to be the correct option. And as you can see, C it is. 30th one, if 10 annual deposits of 1,000 are made, outflow $1,000. 10, what is the compounding? It's just straightforward question. 20 years, that makes N, is it? If 10 annual deposits of $1,000 are made into an investment account earning 9% starting today, it's an annuity due. How much will it be worth after 20 years? So this is a two-step question. In the first step, we will calculate what will be the future value after 10 years, and that future value will be then converted into another future value after another 10 years. So let's do the first step 1. Number of periods for the first phase is 10. Interest rate is 9%. Present value, let us clear this up. It was the payment. N is 10. Interest rate is 9%. Present value is 0. We are making a regular payment of 1,000 annuity due at the start of each period. We need to calculate the future value. Once we calculate the future value, the next step would be to invest it again for next 10 periods, because we have to reach till the end of 10th period. Interest rate is 9%. Whatever the future value will come, it will become the present value for the future amounts, no payments, and then you will calculate the future amount. Let me show you how it will work. So good question, apparently a one-liner, but it has a lot of twists. Step 2, in the first step, you will calculate the future value after 10 years. That future value will become the present value for the next 10 years. With 0 payment, 9% interest, you will calculate the future value. Let us do it. Second payment, second set, first in the end mode. Or are we making the first payment right now? Second set, second enter. The beginning one, its first payment is being made right now. It's an annuity due. Let us make sure if 10 equal annual deposits are made into an investment account earning 9% starting today, definitely it's an annuity due, and we have rightly said it so. 10 is N. Nine is interest. 0 present value. 1,000 negative is the payment. We need to calculate the future value, second future value. It is 16,560. This 16,560, which is an inflow, will become an outflow for the next step, 16,560, which is the present value positive. It's an inflow 560. It's an outflow there now. So you have 10 additional years at 9% where this present value will convert into a future value. But this time you have to do it on annuity ordinary basis. Second PMT, second enter, second quit. 10 is N. 9% is the interest rate. Investment now is 16,560 negative, and it's going to be your future value, present value. Your payment is 0 now. CPT future value is going to be 39,204 approximately, 39,203.54. So this will be the value of your investment at the end of the 20th year. So gentlemen, we have completed